Have you ever had that nagging feeling that you're just not good enough? Or that you're somehow behind where you're supposed to be in life? Well, you are definitely not alone. In this explainer, we're diving into Rachel Hollis's mega bestseller, Girl, Wash Your Face. And let me tell you, this book isn't a gentle pat on the back. It's more like a boot camp for your mindset.
So what's this all about? The entire philosophy of the book really boils down to one simple, powerful truth, and a whole collection of damaging lies that hold us back. Our goal here is to help you spot those lies, dismantle them, and, just like the book says, finally become the person you are always meant to be. And here it is. This is the big one. This is the central, pithy, Pinterest-worthy truth, as Hollis calls it, that the entire book is built on. Every story, every piece of advice, it all comes back to this single, powerful idea: your life is up to you.
Okay, but if taking control of your life is that simple, why do so many of us struggle with it? Well, that's because of what Hollis calls the lies. These self-sabotaging beliefs that just totally undermine our own power. Let's dive into what those are.
I mean, just take a second with these questions. They really hit home for a lot of people, right? That feeling that you're not thin enough or smart enough, that you'll never really amount to anything. These aren't just random negative thoughts. According to Hollis, they are specific lies that we've come to believe as truth. And the book dedicates a whole chapter to each of these lies, and man, are they relatable. Procrastinating by saying, "I'll start tomorrow." Constantly comparing yourself to others. That gut-wrenching feeling that you're a bad mom, or, just waiting around for some hero to swoop in and save the day. Sound familiar? Hollis has this absolutely brilliant term for this constant stream of negativity. She calls it white noise. It's that hateful story playing on a loop in the back of our minds, and it's been there for so long that we don't even really hear it anymore. And that is exactly what makes it so dangerous. So how in the world do you tune out that white noise? Well, it comes down to taking what Hollis calls radical responsibility for your life. It's this core idea that you stop blaming your circumstances, you stop blaming other people, and you realize that you are the captain of your ship, not just a passenger getting tossed around by the waves. Now, before you start thinking this message is coming from some perfect guru who has it all figured out, let me stop you right there. Hollis literally kicks off the book by telling a story about jumping on a trampoline with her kids and, well, having a little accident. It's that kind of raw, self-deprecating honesty that makes her message feel so real and, honestly, so achievable. And that's the whole point. This isn't about being perfect. Hollis actually contrasts that hilarious trampoline story with photos of her all dressed up for the Oscars. The message is crystal clear. Everyone has a messy, relatable reality behind the highlight reel. Taking control doesn't mean you never fail, it just means you get back up and you try again. So, let's get practical. How does this radical responsibility thing actually work in real life? We'll start with one of the most common lies we tell ourselves: "I'll start tomorrow." This is all about breaking that toxic habit of breaking promises to ourselves. Hollis illustrates this with such a powerful analogy. Think about a flaky friend. You know the one. Always cancels, always has a lame excuse. You just can't count on them. Would you trust that person with anything important? Probably not. Well, she argues that every single time we break a promise to ourselves, we are being that flaky friend to ourselves. We slowly destroy our own self-trust. So how did Hollis break this cycle of self-sabotage? You might think it was some grand, life-altering gesture, but it wasn't. Believe it or not, it all started with a can of Diet Coke. Here's what she did. She decided to give up her beloved Diet Coke for just 30 days. It was a small goal, right? But by committing to and actually keeping that one tiny promise to herself, she set a totally new standard. That one success created momentum. It proved to her that if she could do that, then maybe she could tackle bigger goals, like running a marathon or even writing a book. All right, let's tackle another huge lie. This idea that happiness is a destination. You know the one. "I'll be happy when I get the new job," or "I'll be happy when I move to a new city," or "when I finally lose those 10 pounds. Hollis shares her own story about this, moving from a pretty chaotic childhood home to what she thought was her dream city, Los Angeles. But she learned a vital lesson, fast. A change of scenery doesn't change who you are on the inside. Happiness isn't something you find somewhere out there. It's something you have to choose right where you are every single day. So how do you actually choose happiness? Well, Hollis gives us this simple 3-step toolkit. Number 1, stop playing the comparison game. The only person you need to be better than is the person you were yesterday. 2, curate your circle. Surround yourself with positive people who lift you up. And 3,
And this one is a game changer. You have to intentionally make time for the things that actually light you up. So, as we start to wrap this up, let's just come back to the core message. It's this: you are the gatekeeper of your own life. You have the power to tune out that white noise of self doubt and to take full control of your own happiness. It all starts with making a choice. I think this quote just perfectly sums up the entire philosophy of the book. It's all about that radical responsibility. And look, it's a challenging idea for sure, but it is also incredibly, incredibly empowering. It puts the keys to your life right back in your own hands. And that brings us to the final and most important question, because this isn't just about understanding these ideas, it's about putting them into practice. So we'll leave you with the same challenge the book does. What is one piece of that white noise, one single lie, that you will consciously choose to stop believing, starting right now? What would be possible for you if you did?